Hey guys, in this video I'm going to take you through a complete demo of Thrive Leads, which is an amazing WordPress plugin that allows you to quickly and easily create very attractive opt-in forms and pop-ups to help you grow your mailing list. Thrive Leads is honestly one of the best things I've ever purchased online, so let's get started so I can show you how powerful this plugin really is. Before I take you through a complete demo of Thrive Leads, I just want to quickly show you some of the opt-in forms that I have created using the plugin and are being used on my website. Keep in mind that all of the opt-in forms are responsive, which means they work on any screen size and mobile devices. On my homepage, I have this in-content opt-in form, which is created using a shortcode. On some of my pages, I am using a ribbon, which is what this type of opt-in form down here is called. I have also created a basic widget opt-in form, which can be seen here. And in some of my blog posts, I have included a link opt-in form, which can be seen here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, just so you can see what happens. And boom, a form pops up as soon as I click on the link. One last feature that I use and really like is the lock opt-in form, which requires users to fill in their details to unlock the content behind it. I use this type of opt-in form in most of my audio posts. I've created a Thrive Leads demo page so I can show you some of the other opt-in forms you can create with Thrive Leads. Please note that the following forms are pre-built and have not been customized in any way. You will notice that they look pretty awesome by default. With Thrive Leads, you can create a standard pop-up. You can have in-content opt-in forms on specific pages or posts. You can create sliding opt-in forms which slide in from the left, right, above or below. These opt-in forms also stay on the screen if the user scrolls down the page. You can create screen fillers which fill up the whole screen. With screen fillers, a user is unable to scroll up or down unless they fill in their details or close the form. And lastly, you can create scroll mats, which take up the whole screen and give you the option to either fill in your details, scroll down manually, or scroll down by pressing the down arrow. Once you scroll past the opt-in form, it completely disappears. As you can see, you can do some pretty awesome stuff with Thrive Leads, and if you have been looking at other opt-in solutions, you will probably realize that Thrive Leads offers the same features and more. Okay, let's dive in a little deeper so you can see exactly how it works. Once you install Thrive Leads, you will notice these new menus in your WordPress admin panel: Thrive Lightboxes and Thrive Dashboard. In this video, we are not going to cover Thrive Lightboxes because you need to purchase an additional tool called Content Builder to effectively use them. In short, Thrive Boxes allows you to build your own two-step opt-in forms. We will cover two-step opt-in forms later in this video. Let's go down to Thrive Dashboard. Here you can set up your API connections, custom fonts that you can use for your opt-in forms, and you can download icons to also use in your opt-in forms. There is nothing much to see in the general settings section, so we are going to skip that and go directly to the Thrive Leads dashboard where all the good stuff happens. Here you can see all of the opt-in forms that I am using. I'm just going to go through them before I show you how to create them. Here's the opt-in form that is on my homepage. As you can see, it's placed into the homepage using a shortcode. The same goes for the audio lock that I am using. Here is the link opt-in form you saw at the start of this video. Now if I scroll to the top, you will see that I also have a lead group. Don't worry if this doesn't make sense to you right now, because I will go through this in a lot more detail shortly. Let's click on here to expand it. In lead groups, you can create a ribbon, a lightbox, which is a standard pop-up box, a widget form, a post footer, which is a form in the footer of a post, a slide-in, an in-content form, a screen filler lightbox, a PHP insert, which advanced users can use to add Optin forms in places where standard Optin forms cannot be added. For example, between your header and your content area. And lastly, there's a scroll mat, which you also saw at the start of this video. On every form you create, you can see the number of impressions the form has had. For those who don't know, the number of impressions is basically the number of people who saw the form. You can see the number of conversions. Seeing as I only made my website available to the public 2 days ago, I haven't had any conversions as of yet. You can also see the conversion rate, which is shown as a percentage when it's available. With Thrive Leads, you can very easily choose whether you want your opt-in form to be displayed on a mobile device, on a desktop computer, or on both. A very amazing feature that Thrive Leads has is the ability to test forms against each other. Let me show you. At the moment, I have a ribbon and a widget running on my website. I can test these forms against each other to find out which one is performing better. Another thing I can do is automatically select the winner. So for example, if I didn't want them to both be displayed on my website at the same time, I can set a test to see which one performs the best. When one of the forms starts beating the other by 95%, Thrive Leads will automatically archive the losing opt-in form and leave only the winner to be displayed on the website. This is a very powerful feature to ensure that your forms are optimized as best as possible. I will show you a live example of this later in this video. For now, I'm going to close this window, minimize this, and create a new lead group by clicking on the Add New button. I'm going to name this lead group Demo. Display settings is where you can select exactly where the opt-in forms you create are displayed. Let's take a look at this in more detail. So, you have your basic settings, which allows you to display your forms on your front page, on your blog index, on all of your posts, on all of your pages, on all of your 404 error pages, and on your search page. You can also set exclusions, which is pretty self-explanatory, and you can save your settings as a template and use them quickly and easily in another lead group. It's worth noting that you are able to save everything in Thrive Leads as a template, so you can quickly reuse it. Let's take a look at the Categories tab. Here you can display forms on specific categories. This is very useful if you wanted to create a very targeted opt-in form that targets users who read posts from a specific category. As you can see, you can also display your forms on posts with specific tags, and so on. The Posts tab allows you to display forms on specific posts. And the last tab I'm going to cover is Pages, because this is what I'm going to use for this example. I have already created a page called Thrive Leads Demo, and I'm going to select it so all of the opt-in forms I'm about to create are going to be displayed on that page only. I'm now going to browse to the Thrive Leads Demo page just so you can see what it looks like. It's just a dummy page that I created for the sake of this video. Let's go back to Thrive Leads and click on Save and Close. Now we can create all of these opt-in forms, but for this example, I'm just going to create a lightbox. To do this, I need to click on this green icon here. Then I need to create a form. I'm going to name my form Demo. Just so you are aware, here you can create multiple lightbox forms and test them against each other. Here you can select what triggers a lightbox to pop up. At the moment, it's set to show on page load. You can change the pop-up trigger to when a certain amount of time has passed, when a user scrolls to a specific part of the content, when a user scrolls to a percentage of the way down of the content, when a user clicks on an element, when the user is about to exit the page. This is also known as exit intent, or when a user reaches the bottom of the page. I'm just going to leave it on show on page load. Display frequency. Here you can set how often the opt-in form is shown after a user closes it. I'm just going to leave it on 7 days. Animation. This is the type of animation you would like your opt-in form to have. You can also see a preview of each animation before you save your settings. Here is a list of animations available at the time of this video. I'm now just going to go through a few animations just so you can see how they work. I'm going to use rotational. Now here, you can create and edit the opt-in form. You can clone the opt-in form, you can reset the stats, and you can archive it. Let's go ahead and create the opt-in form. Here you can see all of the pre-built templates that you can choose from. Of course you can build them exactly how you want them from scratch, but for this example, I'm just going to select a pre-built design. We are currently in this tab, Opt-in Templates. Here you can use a saved form template you've created. We are going to cover multi-step templates later on. I'm now going to scroll down so you can take a look at all of the pre-designed templates that are available. Please feel free to pause the video at any time so you can take a better look at them. I'm going to go back up and select this template. And there we go. In just 2 seconds, we can create an awesome looking pop-up form. On the side here, you have all of these elements that you can easily add to your form. Again, I'm going to scroll down so you can take a look. Feel free to pause the video at any time. Let me show you how easy it is to add an element. I'm going to add a countdown timer to the pop-up form by a simple drag and drop. And there we go. We now have a timer. Let's say that we wanted to edit the writing up here. I just need to click on here and a box will pop up. I'm simply going to select it and then type freebie. If I want to add an underline, I select it and just press the underline icon. I'm going to change the color of this writing too, just so you can see how easy it is to do. I know red doesn't look good, but this is just an example. Now, let's say we wanted to change the way the countdown looks. We click on it to bring up the box, and then we can begin making changes. There are also pre-designed styles that you can use. I'm going to leave it on style 3 and then center the countdown timer. I'm also going to change the color to green. Let's take a look at the form. Before the form is usable, we need to connect it to our mailing service. I'm going to create a new connection. You can use an API to connect it, or a HTML form code. You will probably use an API, so I'm going to leave it on API. For this video, I'm connecting Thrive leads to MailChimp, the list I want all of the subscribers to go to when they opt in using this form is website subscribers. Down here, you can select whether you want to use a double opt-in or a single opt-in. Most mailing providers do not give you the option to be able to change this, but with Thrive Leads, you can override this. With double opt-in, the user will get an email asking them to confirm their subscription. But with the single opt-in, the user will be subscribed to your mailing list without them having to confirm their email. Down here, you can select what type of fields you would like on your pop-up form. Let me zoom in for you. It's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm not going to go into details. I'm going to display the name field and the phone number field along with the email field. There's an option for you to use Google's reCAPTCHA service to help you prevent spam signups. And down here, you can choose what happens once the user enters their details into the form. You can just reload the page they're on or redirect them to a URL, a thank you page for example. Before we finish up with our pop-up form, let's change the writing on the button. Down here, you can add different states. So for example, I'm going to add a pre-built state called already subscribed. Now the pop-up form has two states. One is its default state that we were working on, and the second is an already subscribed state. It's basically for what happens when a user is already subscribed. By clicking on this little eye icon here, you can completely hide the form from every user who has already subscribed. Here's the default state. Here's the already subscribed state. Let's save the changes and see this pop-up form in action. Now when I refresh the page, the opt-in form should pop up. And there we go. It's as easy as that. Remember how we set the frequency to 7 days? Now, if I refresh the page, the pop-up will not appear for another 7 days. See how nothing happens? Let's go back to the dashboard. I'm going to scroll down and add a ribbon. A ribbon is a different opt-in form, so it may have different options. For example, in Trigger, there are less options compared to the Lightbox that we created before. In the position option, I'm going to select bottom. Now I'm going to go ahead and create the ribbon. I'm just going to randomly select this one. As you can see, it looks pretty good by default. I'm going to save it and then go to the Thrive Leads demo page and click on refresh. And there we go. There's the ribbon. I'm going to close this and go back to the form area. I'm now going to clone the ribbon, and in position, I'm going to select top. I'm also going to quickly change the design of this new ribbon just so you can see another pre-designed template in action. Okay, now I want to see which one will perform better, a green ribbon at the top or a blue ribbon at the bottom. To find this information, I will need to start an A/B test. I'm just going to leave these settings as default and click on Start Test. Here you can see a graph on how the ribbons are performing against each other. Seeing as we just started the test, there is no data available at the moment. Down here, you can see more information on the competing ribbons. Now, let me show you how it works. I'm going to go to my Thrive Leads demo page and refresh it. As you can see, the green ribbon appeared again. Let's refresh it one more time. Hopefully this time, the blue ribbon will appear. And there we go. The blue ribbon is now showing. So, as you can see, the Optin forms take it in turns to be displayed, which allows you to determine which one performs better. Let's head back over to this page. You can also manually stop a test and set a winner. I'm going to set our first demo form to be the winner. Now the second form, which was the blue form, has been removed from the active forms and placed in the archived forms section, so if you ever needed to go back to it, you can. Down here, you can see all of your completed tests. So for example, let's click here. This is the same page as we saw before, in which you are able to see how the Optin forms are performing against each other. Let's go back. Since we are done with this, I'm going to archive the form. So if I click on Archive, you can see that both forms are there. From here, I can easily view the form, re-add the form to activate it, or completely delete it. Let's go back to the dashboard. From here, I'm going to click into the Lightbox, which is the first pop-up form we created. I can now create a new form, but I'm just going to change the existing form so you can see how easy it is to do. In order for us to see the new form, we need to change the display frequency settings to 0. Animation we could leave the same, but let's just try another one so we can see what it looks like. I'm going to select Bounce In. I'm now just going to click on the blue button to edit the design of our existing Optin form. So this is the first Optin form we created. From here, I'm just going to change it by selecting another template. Okay, so what I'm going to show you now are the multi-step templates. Basically what the multi-step templates do is they give the user an option. You will see exactly what I mean in just a minute. I'm going to select the first multi-step template and scroll down to the bottom. Again, please feel free to pause the video to take a better look at the templates that are currently available. This is just a warning that my existing form will be deleted. I'm going to press OK. So this is how the multi-step templates look like. In this case, if the user clicks on the green button, a form pops up asking for their details, but if they press the red button, the form closes. Of course, if you wanted to, you could set it so the red button also displays something different once the user clicks on it. Anyways, let's see how this works. If we click down here on State 1, we will be able to see and modify the form that is shown after the user presses on the green button. And here it is. Let's save the form by clicking on Save Changes and go to the Thrive Leads demo page to see it live. And there we go. Here is the form we just created. Did you notice the bounce-in animation effect? Let's click on the red button to see what happens. The lightbox is now gone. I'm going to refresh the page to bring it back up. Now let's click on the green button. This is how the multi-step templates work. Okay, let's move on to some other features of Thrive Leads. Since we don't need this anymore, I'm going to archive it. Let's head back to the dashboard. Before we scroll down, let's go ahead and delete this whole lead group since we don't need it anymore. Now let's take a look at lead shortcodes. I'm going to go ahead and create a new one called Demo. We first need to create the opt-in form. Here are all the pre-designed templates that you can use with shortcodes. As you've probably realized, they are very similar to the ones you've already seen. But take note of the name. See how up here they are named shortcode set and then a number? They are your normal shortcode templates. Now if I scroll down, you will see that these templates have a different name, Content Lock-in. These templates are used to lock content with an opt-in form. We will go through one of these opt-in forms shortly. I'm going to continue to scroll down to the bottom so you can see all of the templates. Okay, so for this example, I'm going to select this template. I'm going to press save and then head back here. What we need to do now is copy this shortcode by simply clicking on the copy button. I'm now going into the Thrive Leads demo page. I'm going to paste the shortcode down here and update the page. Let's take a look at the demo page now. As you can see, an opt-in form has been created exactly where I placed the shortcode. This is basically how shortcodes work. Anywhere you place them within your content, they display an opt-in form. Now, let me show you something really cool you can do with shortcodes. Let's go back to the dashboard. I'm going to remove this shortcode and add a new one. I'm going to enable content lock-in and then create the opt-in form. By enabling content lock-in, we get a lock mode option. At the moment, it's on hide. I'm going to leave it as it is and go design the opt-in form. I'm going to scroll down to the content lock-in templates and select this one. Okay, I'm now going to copy the shortcode and go to the Thrive Leads demo page. We don't need this shortcode anymore, so I'm going to delete it. Just so I can make it easier for you to see how the content lock-in form works, I'm going to select all of this text and make it bold. I'm now going to paste the content lock-in shortcode. See how there's text in the middle of the shortcode that says hidden content? Anything inside the code will be hidden. I'm now going to grab the end of this code and place it at the very end of the post so it covers all of the bold text. Let's press update and see this opt-in form in action. And there we go. As you can see, all of the bold text has been completely hidden. I'm now going to enter my details into the form. Voila! After entering my details into the form, the content has been unlocked. Pretty cool, right? Now, if the user that provided you with their details came back to this page or to a different page that uses the exact same content locking form, ThriveLeaves will detect this and will not show them the form. For example, I'm going to refresh this page. See how the form is not being shown? For the form to show again, I will need to clear my browser's data. I'm now going to use a Firefox add-on to do this. If I press on refresh now, the opt-in form pops back up. Okay, let's go back here and change the lock mode to blur. I personally use the blur mode on my website. Now, let's refresh the ThriveLeads demo page to see what happens. See how there is blurred text behind the content lock form? I really like this feature of ThriveLeads, so I'm going to show you one more example with another template. Here I'm just going to use copy and paste to increase the amount of text behind the locked form. And there we go. Okay, now let's go back to the dashboard to look at another opt-in form option. I'm going to delete the lock content opt-in so it doesn't get in the way. Now I'm going to add a Thrive box. On a little side note here, it's good to know that within the plugin, there are often videos to show you exactly how each feature works, like this one for example. I'm not going to let it play just because I'm about to show you this feature myself. Okay, same as always, we first need to create an opt-in form. Now, take note that with Thrive boxes, you can use two different opt-in forms. For example, you can select templates that utilize the Lightbox feature, or you can select templates that use the screen filler feature. For this example, I'm going to use this Lightbox template. Thrive boxes also use shortcodes, so I'm going to copy the code and go to the ThriveLeads demo page. I'm going to remove the content lock shortcode that was previously added. Here I'm going to write, looking for the 100 best recipes, and I'm going to put that inside the shortcode that I just copied. To make it easier to see, I'm going to remove all of this text down here. I'm also going to make the "Looking for the 100 best recipes" text bold. Okay, let's see Thrive boxes in action. Now, if I go down and click on the text, an opt-in form appears. To make this look a little better, I'm quickly going to add an animation effect. Just so you can see something different, I'm going to change the template to one that uses a screen filler. Okay, now if I click on this text, the pop-up takes up the whole screen, and I cannot scroll up or down until I take some action on the pop-up. The way many internet marketers, including myself, use this feature is by adding some style to the text, like this for example. Let's go back to the Thrive Leads dashboard and look at the last opt-in option. Sign up segue is not something that I needed to use as of yet, so I haven't got one set up. So what I'm going to do is click on the video so you can see exactly how it works.
Welcome to the sign up segue feature in Thrive Leads. This is an excellent way to sign people up to things with just a single click. And to explain what it does, I want to give you an example of a webinar registration. This would be a typical way to use sign up segue, although it's not the only way it can be used. So here's how this normally works. You have a mailing list with subscribers and you would send them a link, you would send them an email with a link that goes to a webinar sign up page. And on this page, they enter their name and their email address, maybe some other things, and that signs them up to a webinar event that may be taking place on GoToWebinar. This is the typical process and it works, but on closer inspection, you can see that on this page, we're asking subscribers to do something that's really redundant because signing up through a form like this is exactly what they already did before to get on our mailing list in the first place. So we're asking them for information that we actually already have about them, and we're just making them jump through some extra hoops without any real reason. And also on this page, you'll see that, typically you lose about 50% of the traffic. So the conversion rate of a page like this is probably going to be around 50%, which means that half of the people who click on the link and initially were interested in the webinar can't be bothered to fill out yet another form. So while this setup does work, it is very, very inefficient, and the sign up segue links are here to solve this problem. So with sign up segue, the new process is you send an email to your mailing list, they click on a link in that email, and they are signed up directly to the GoToWebinar or other webinar event, no extra steps needed. And actually, it's even better than that because the sign up to the webinar event happens in the background while your visitors are redirected to a custom confirmation page. So there's a page where you can send a confirmation message, tell them, yes, you've been signed up to this event, good stuff, plus anything else can go on this page. So you can have custom content here. You can have a personal video message. You can advertise a product. You can link to your latest blog post. You can do whatever you want, which gives you a whole lot of new traffic potential to work with that before was just wasted on an unnecessary sign up page. In Thrive Leads, you have to have at least one active API connection for this to work, and then you can go to the Thrive Leads main dashboard. When you scroll down here, you'll see sign up segue, one-click sign up links. So let's click on add new, and I'll call this demo to add a new one. And now we have a link that is pending, and we need to do two setup steps. So the first is we want to link it to one or more services. So right here, you can see that there's no connections with this link. We click on add new, and here you can choose whatever service you want from the list of your existing API connections. I'm going to go with GoToWebinar, And it will give me a list of all the events I can connect to, and I could choose one and save that. And I can even add more connections. So you can sign up through one link to more than one service at a time. I'll stick with just this one GoToWebinar event though and click on Save. And then here I can see this has been updated. It shows me that whenever someone clicks on this link, they will be sent to this GoToWebinar event. The second step is to go to this gear icon and set up what happens with the redirect. So when someone clicks on the link, they will be signed up in the background and then redirected to a page. And you can have two types of redirects. We'll just look at the simple one. You can either link to some content on your site and you can just start typing a name of a page, for example, and that will give you examples that will show you searchable content, and you can choose one of the pages on your site. Or you can enter a custom URL. So any URL you want to send to, you just enter in this field and then click on Save. As soon as you've set up these two things, you will see that the link becomes active and you can now start using it. So now you can either click in this field and copy this, or click on this copy link right here. And you can then use this link in your email marketing system. I'm going to show it to you in ActiveCampaign, which is the one I use. So if I go here and I'm just going to paste this link in here, you can see that we have a link with some parameters, and we have in square brackets name and email. And you want to replace these two with the name and email equivalents in your autoresponder. And every email marketing system has a slightly different way of doing this. So what I do is I just highlight this whole thing, name in brackets, and I go to personalize, and I insert the first name. And so this is the first name token in ActiveCampaign. This will replace this token in the link with the actual first name of that email subscriber. And then I can do exactly the same with the email address. I highlight this whole thing, personalize, and choose email address. And so in every autoresponder or email marketing system, this will be slightly different, but the process is basically always the same. There's always some way to insert these personalization tags or merge fields that will replace a token with the receiver's email address. And by the way, if you don't have a first name, you can just replace this with a dash, for example, which means that everyone's first name will just be filled out with a dash, and that's it. But you have to have an email token for this link to work. So with this link now, with the correct token inside, I cut this, and this is what I can use. So if I create an actual link, this is the link I insert, and anyone who clicks on this link will be immediately signed up to the GoToWebinar event and sent to my custom landing page. And that's how the sign up segue link in Thrive Leads works to make things more convenient for your subscribers and much more effective for you.
Okay, now that we have covered all of the opt-in forms available in Thrive Leads, let's take a look at some additional features. Up here in settings, you can select to have your opt-in form use lazy load. Lazy load basically means items on the website only load when they come into view with the user. So for example, if you have a lot of images on your website, there's no point loading all of the images on the page because the user may never scroll down to see them all. By using lazy load, images will only load when they come into view for the user, which speeds up the website. In Thrive Leads, you can set lazy load on forms very easily. By using lazy load forms, you can also use caching plugins such as W3 Total Cache and WP Super Cache. Next is advanced features. Let's click into Asset Delivery. Asset Delivery allows you to automatically send a download link to new subscribers. So for example, if you had an opt-in form that said, enter your details to get access to a PDF, you could have the PDF sent to the subscriber right away. Keep in mind that you can set up different opt-in forms to send different download links. It's pretty basic, so I'm not going to completely go through it, but just so you can get an idea, up here you can set up your email delivery service. Here you can create a default email template, and here you can add all your downloads. Okay, let's move on to Smart Links. Smart Links is a very clever and very useful feature. Smart Links are links that you can use to send to people, and when they click on it, they will only see specific opt-in forms or no opt-in forms at all, depending on what you set. An example of this would be if you are sending out emails to your mailing list who have already subscribed, then it's a little silly if they continue to see opt-in forms. By using smart links, you can also ensure that even if people in the mailing list are using different devices, including mobile phones, eventually Thrive leads will be able to detect that these people have already subscribed and therefore should not be displayed any opt-in forms. Another example would be to use smart links to target a specific audience and only display forms that will help you upsell something. To create a smart link, you first need to select where you want to send your visitors. You can send them to your homepage, a specific post, a specific page, a specific product, a home slider, to your portfolio, or to a custom URL. Then you need to tell Thrive leads which lead group you would like to target. You can then select what the form should do if the user has already subscribed. Should the form be hidden, or should it display the already subscribed state of the form? Lastly, you need to select how long you want this to last for. You can select only once, until the visitor closes the browser tab. You can set a custom period of time, or you can have it last as long as possible. Once you've gone through all of the steps, Thrive leads will generate a link for you that you can copy and send to your people. Okay, the last thing we need to cover are lead reports. Here is where you see all of your reports. I don't have much data here as this site has only been up for 2 days, but you will be able to get an idea of what type of reports are available within Thrive leads. Here are the types of reports you can see. Down here, you can select the date interval, the source, which are your opt-in forms, and a graph interval. Down here, you can see your data as a graph. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, you can see the users that have subscribed to your list using Thrive leads. You can see information such as their email, the date and time they subscribed, the opt-in form they use, what URL they were referred from, and you can even view the form. Before we finish up, it's worth mentioning that Thrive leads is continuously updated and new features are always being added. All updates to the plugin are 100% free. Also, the support you get with it is absolutely fantastic. With every ticket I have ever made, it has taken less than 24 hours to get a response. Furthermore, if you subscribe to the email list, which I highly recommend, they send you information that they have gathered and analyzed to help you create better opt-in forms. I know this was a long video, but I really do hope it was helpful. I said at the start of the video that Thrive leads is probably the best thing I've ever purchased online, and now you probably understand why. For more information, visit the link in the description below, or feel free to contact me directly.